And welcome, football fans, to an episode here of Friday Football Talk here live on Tim Reynolds Show. And guys, welcome to the show. We're going to talk a little football here for you guys today as it's the first week of the 2025 NFL preseason, which means the NFL season's right around the corner. So why not talk a little ball back and forth with you guys right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday evening as we go over some of the top matchups coming up this weekend for preseason week one. We also will go over a couple of matchups that have already taken place up to this point here on Friday night of August 8th, 2025. Thank you guys for hanging out on the channel here on Tim Reynolds Show. Please make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show. Now let's go. All right, guys, we'll get things kicked off with a big breaking news announcement as we see Rob Gronkowski, the legendary NFL tight end, will now be a part of Fox Football. That's right, guys. He will be on the Fox broadcast team with a lot of the other veterans there, as he will be the new face of Fox, especially with Jimmy Johnson retiring and no longer being the face of Fox and football. So now get to see Rob Gronkowski step into, excuse me, his new position with Fox, and I think this will definitely pay a lot of dividends for Rob Gronkowski going forward. All right, guys, so let's go over a couple of matchups that already happened today as of August 8th here, going over stats and everything like that with the NFL and what we've seen thus far up into this point, to try to give you guys a breakdown of the matchups that we've seen here to start out with the preseason. And how about Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns, as we see Shedeur Sanders shines in his debut of this matchup where the Cleveland Browns get a preseason victory over the Carolina Panthers 30-10, and now are undefeated here to start out the preseason, as we'll go over the matchup for you guys here on what was a very, very good matchup here in the first week of the preseason. We see Shedeur Sanders finishes the game 14 for 23 for 138 yards and 2 touchdown passes. He also led 3 different scoring drives in this game, as we see Shedeur Sanders really shines in this matchup to get the victory for the Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland was without 2 of their quarterbacks, including Kenny Pickett and rookie Dylan Gabriel, who were not able to play in this matchup due to injuries. Joe Flacco obviously sat out because he's the veteran and did not start this game. So we've seen Shedeur Sanders and quarterback Tyler Huntley for the rest of the second half for the Cleveland Browns. Now, as far as the Carolina Panthers go, we did see their first-round pick, the wide receiver McMillan, had 2 catches for 43 yards, so he really flashed starting out in his first game action there with the Carolina Panthers. And I thought Chase Young also looked pretty good as well early on in this game through the first couple of drives. As we look at the box score here, Bryce Young did finish 4 for 6 for 58 yards with 1 passing touchdown, a passer rating of 137.5. So definitely a good day for him. He did take 1 sack on the day, but definitely had a good outing in the couple of drives that he got to play. We also see that Chuba Hubbard had 3 carries for 10 yards. I'm pronouncing this probably wrong, but Emene Bailey, Emene Bailey, finished with 3 carries for 29 yards. That led the team in rushing. Trevor Etienne also made his debut for the Carolina Panthers with 2 carries for only 3 yards. As we see the wide receiving core here, Rico Dowdle caught the biggest catch of the day with 1 catch for 20 yards on the day. We also see David Moore had 2 catches for 26 yards. And then we also already mentioned McMillan's day as well. Not very many stats to go over for the Cleveland Browns. One thing to note in this one, we did not see Junkins, the second-round pick, or yes, I believe a second-round pick for the Cleveland Browns this year, as he's still dealing with legal matters as of right now. So as far as the running back room goes, we did see Marshall, number 39, with 8 carries for 32 yards for the Cleveland Browns. We also see Toa Tunga get 5 carries for 30 yards in this game. He's the brother of Puka Nacua on the Rams, Los Angeles Rams. So nice to see that day for the Cleveland Browns, but nice to see Shedeur Sanders have a very, very good day and his first preseason outing for the Cleveland Browns. Now, guys, we'll go over some other scores that did happen throughout the first week of preseason here as we get you guys ready. And also in this game, Xavier Legette and Rashawn Jenkins both got ejected from this game after a scuffle. Not something that you really like to see during a preseason game, but nonetheless, it did happen. And guys, going on to our next game, we see the Detroit Lions took on the Atlanta Falcons. The Detroit Lions were able to get the victory 17-10, but the big thing to note in this game is we did see a serious injury where unfortunately someone had to be carted off and go to the hospital because of a very, very bad injury that happened during this game. So what a very, very good moment between the Detroit Lions and the Atlanta Falcons as we see them stop play and suspend play in this game with about just over 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter to call this game after the gruesome injury that both teams seen as they gathered around this man that was injured. We then seen both teams gather together to sort of have a prayer and a circle of prayer for this man that actually was injured. So definitely my condolences, or I should say, I hope we have heard reports that the injured player is doing okay for the most part in the hospital right now as he's recovering. So hopefully that continues here going forward for him. And a big game here for the Detroit Lions and the Atlanta Falcons as we see the Lions get the victory 17-10. Moving on, guys, to another more exciting game where we're seeing the New England Patriots taking on the Washington Commanders. As we go over the stats for you guys in this game, we see Josh Johnson, the veteran there, now part of the Washington Commanders. He had a good day throwing 15 for 22 on 173 yards passing with one passing touchdown, but also had one interception on the day as well. Not a lot of other stats to go over here for key guys, although Rashad Stevenson for the New England Patriots did have 7 carries for 36 yards. He looks sharp to start out the season for the New England Patriots. So those are just a couple of the games that happened here tonight on Friday night for the NFL. We'll go over some of the games that did happen last night for you guys as well as we get ready and get started. So last night we did see the Colts taking on the Ravens. The Ravens were able to dominate this matchup even though the Colts had a chance at the end of the game to win it. It was the Ravens who came out on top in their first preseason action 24-16 in this matchup. As we go over key things to note here in this particular matchup, one of the big things was quarterback Richardson for the Colts went out early in this game with a dislocated pinky after he got lit up by the defenders and the pass rush there from the Baltimore Ravens. So hopefully Anthony Richardson is going to be okay going forward. But how about Riley Leonard? He finished the game 12 for 24 with 92 yards passing. He did throw an interception, but looked pretty sharp for the most part throughout this game. Daniel Jones really separated himself as far as maybe competing and getting that starting quarterback job for the Colts in this matchup as we see Daniel Jones went 10 for 21 for 144 yards passing. He did unfortunately only have a 70 rating as far as a passer rating throughout this, but when you see the replay and you see the gameplay, Daniel Jones really looks like he's running this offense the way that the Colts want to see this offense run. So this really could mean that Daniel Jones is now taking a step forward as far as getting that starting quarterback job for the Indianapolis Colts, because Anthony Richardson has just not been able to stay healthy. He already suffered a shoulder injury during training camp that he missed a couple of weeks during training camp, and now this dislocated pinky is definitely going to be troublesome for him if he's going to try to compete for the starting quarterback job by week 1. So we'll have to see what happens with that, but definitely something to keep an eye out for. We see Khalil Herbert, I should say, one of the new running backs there in the backfield, had 7 carries for 29 yards. How about Riley Leonard, able to use his legs as well as a running quarterback, 4 carries for 34 yards as well, with a long rush of 21 yards in this matchup. For the Baltimore Ravens, we see Dearness Johnson really carried the load for the backfield for them, as we see he had 18 carries for 57 yards on the day, just averaged over about 3 yards per carry. But we also see Keenan Quinyon Mitchell have a very, very good day in his first preseason outing after coming back from a bad knee injury that he suffered a couple of years ago. He's still trying to work his way back, but he looks solid in this game, having 9 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown with a long rush of 23 yards. He looked very, very good in this game early on and later. Cooper Rush, the new backup there for the Baltimore Ravens, looked pretty good as well throughout this matchup, even though he threw an interception. For the Colts, their defense looked pretty good, but also one thing to note, I seen Tyler Warren, the rookie tight end for the Indianapolis Colts, their first round pick, was definitely targeted a lot in this game and definitely looked like they were looking for him often. So look out for him. I'm sure fantasy football people are really going to be looking at tight end Tyler Warren as possibly one of the top tight ends to draft this upcoming year in the 2025 fantasy football drafts for a lot of fantasy football teams. What's going on, guys? Shout out to the chat. I see you guys commenting a lot here. I'll try to get to some of your comments as soon as I can as we're going over here on this Friday football talk. Hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday evening thus far. Make sure you guys please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Nobody playing tonight, guys. We're just talking sports. All the games have been played for the most part. Whoa! Jamie, shout out, dude. It's been a while since we seen you, brother. Jamie Walk in the chat. Welcome back, man. Hope you're doing good, brother. We got a couple of new people as well in the chat. Welcome, guys. Got a lot of Go Vikings from Suzanne Miller. What's going on? Go Vikings. Hell yeah. Larry, what's going on? Go Bucks. Hell yeah. Allie, what's going on as well? Buddy, who's better, Tom Brady or Justin Jefferson? Dude, that's Tom Brady all day. Justin Jefferson still got to prove himself in this league, although he is an elite wide receiver in this league. That is for sure. Hope you guys are doing well. Wally, what's going on, man? Shout out to my cousin. Please, it's his birthday. His name is Nick Gurr. Shout out, Nick Gurr. Hope you have a wonderful birthday, man. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, Wally. Oh, Carlos wants to talk about the Miami Dolphins? Maybe we'll talk about the Dolphins. And what's going on? Aiden, sup, bro? Thank you for hanging out. Kosa, howdy. Thank you guys for hanging out. Christopher, welcome back, brother. Hope you're doing well. I'm a football player. I play for the 49ers. Oh, shit. Well, Aiden, welcome to the chat, dude. Appreciate you, man. If you got any football questions, let me know, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for hanging out here on the channel. All right, guys. So as we get ready, man, we'll go over some more of the games here that have happened this past weekend. We just went over the Colts and the Ravens and their first preseason matchup. Coming up next, probably the most exciting game of the week thus far. This was the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And I tell you what, man, I see the Eagles really dominate in this one, even though early on, the Bengals looked really good with Joe Burrow and Chase playing on the first 2 drives. We've seen the Cincinnati Bengals go down the field on both drives and score quickly here to take a 14-7 lead by the end of the first quarter. But Philadelphia would respond with a strong second quarter, scoring 17 points in that second quarter, and ended up finishing this game with a 34-27 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals in the first week of the preseason. We'll go over the Bengals as we see Joe Burrow had a very, very good day as he went 9 for 10 for 123 yards passing with 2 passing touchdowns, unbelievable passer rating of 157.5 for Joe Burrow. We also see Chase Brown had 5 carries for 23 yards on the day, almost average 5 yards per carry. Jamar Chase also finishes with 4 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Tanner Hudson, number 87, the tight end, the backup tight end there in Cincinnati, and may even be the 3rd string tight end now with Noah Fant being added onto the team. And we also know how good he is at the tight end position. But Tanner Hudson had himself a day as he led all wide receivers with 6 catches, 62 yards passing, and 2 passing touchdowns. Once again, we see Tanner Hudson balling in the preseason just like he did for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day. As far as rushing goes, Tiaj Brooks finished with 10 carries for 26 yards to lead the team in rushing. Desmond Ridder also had a pretty good day. As the backup, Jake Browning came in and did a little bit better, although he struggled at times throwing an interception. For the Philadelphia Eagles, we see Tanner McKee really prove himself as a very capable backup, at least right now in the preseason, as he was able to go 20 for 25 for 252 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, including a rushing touchdown that he got off of the tush push, which was nice to see for the Philadelphia Eagles. We see Will Shipley, the backup running back, number 28, at 7 carries for 48 yards, so a pretty good day for him. Derek Powell also finished with 6 carries and 32 yards and a touchdown. We also seen A.J. Dillon have some action here for the Philadelphia Eagles in their backfield as well. Nice to see that 1-2 punch coming up not only from Saquon Barkley, but also the speediness of Will Shipley should really help out that Philadelphia Eagles offense to keep that running game going good. And then I like the addition of A.J. Dillon, because when you talk about subbing in Saquon Barkley, you want to be able to put a big guy back there that can help in those short yard situations, and A.J. Dillon is definitely a guy that will fit that mold for the Philadelphia Eagles, who like to ground and pound and really run the football very, very well. Now, as far as the receiving goes for the Philadelphia Eagles, we see Darius Cooper finish with 6 catches for 82 yards and a touchdown, the leading receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. A.J. Dillon also contributed with 3 catches for 27 yards. Not A.J. Dillon's strong suit, catching the ball out of the backfield. So that was an interesting play for him as well, as far as the receiving core goes for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now looking over, back over at the Cincinnati Bengals, I am surprised that Jermaine Burton was able to get some action here in the preseason. I thought he was a guy that could have been let go during the offseason by the Cincinnati Bengals for some off-the-field sort of issues, but looks like he's back and ready to prove himself in his second year with the team. Now, guys, going over some defensive stats here from this game, we see that Jeremiah Trotter, the second-year linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, led all teams with 6 total tackles in this matchup here. And then PJ Jules, number 37 for the Cincinnati Bengals, led all of defenders with 6 solo tackles as well, really contributing for that Cincinnati Bengals defense. But a big win here for the Philadelphia Eagles to kick off the preseason, 34-27 over the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, guys, so going over the last matchup from yesterday, we had the Las Vegas Raiders going one-on-one with the Seattle Seahawks, and this was a game where we seen Geno Smith return to Seattle for the first time since this trade this offseason, whereas the Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks sent Geno to the Las Vegas Raiders for some draft capital. So it'll be really interesting to see how Geno Smith really plays with this Las Vegas Raiders offense, especially with the oldest head coach in NFL history, that being Pete Carroll, the former Seattle Seahawks head coach who led them to 2 Super Bowls, including 1 Super Bowl victory, and now the oldest coach in NFL history at 74 years young. We will see Pete Carroll as the new head coach heading this season for the Las Vegas Raiders, and this game was a little sloppy back and forth, although we did see the Raiders score 13 points in the fourth quarter, but unfortunately it would be a tie game by the end of this, just like we see in preseason. If it is tied at the end, unfortunately, we do see these games end in a tie during the preseason. What's going on, chat, man? You guys are popping off here today. Thank you guys for hanging out on the channel. Damn, we got a lot of comments here, guys. Appreciate y'all. Who would you prefer, Patrick or George Kittle? If you're preferring Patrick Mahomes, that's probably who I would go with. Ronaldo or Messi? I'm not a big soccer fan, so I mean, maybe Ronaldo just by popularity, but I like what Messi's doing down in Miami, so that's pretty cool. Welcome to the chat, guys. What's up, Demir Promise? Yeah, want to be an announcer? Hell yeah, dude. Why the fuck not? That would be so cool. What's up, Goofy Kid? Go Cleveland Browns. Hell yeah. Christopher, happy early birthday, man. His birthday's on the 14th. Shout out to Christopher in the chat. Jamie Walk, welcome back, brother. How you doing, man? Reading off something anyone can look up, said Nick Gurr, not realizing it. Hey, look, Demir, we're doing this all natural, man. I ain't got no notes or nothing with you, man, so appreciate you hanging out here in the chat. Hell yeah, dude. Announcer video job application. Dude, Dyer, promise. Send it in. Send it in, bro. You never know what could happen. Sports, my cool guy. Welcome to the chat, man. We got Bucks, Prods. What's going on, dude? Hell yeah, dude. Is Genty getting more carries? Well, Glasgow, we'll have to see what happens with that. Genty didn't have himself a very good day, but only played one series. So we just have to wait to see what happens when we start the season when it comes to Genty. But I think Ashton Genty is going to be one of the better running backs in the league. He's definitely somebody I'm keeping an eye on, or I have my radar on for my NFL fantasy draft coming up here in just a few weeks. So definitely something to look at. We got Jason Reddick. What's going on, man? Did you hear about the Falcons and Lions game getting canceled? Yeah, we just mentioned that a little bit ago, Jason. Very sad, but it's also very cool to see a bunch of humans and a bunch of athletes come together doing something so shocking and so kind of sad, to be able to see them sort of lift each other up and gather around each other during this difficult time. I thought that was pretty cool, to be honest with you. So, oh shit. Shout out to Gator Edits in the chat with the sub. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Shout out to you, my brother. And Valerie7 says, who's your favorite Buccaneers player? Well, if you're talking about of all time, it's got to be Mike Allstott. But close behind them is Derek Brooks and John Lynch. But as far as my favorite Buccaneers player right now, got to go with the GOAT, Mike Evans, baby. Love Mike Evans or Levante David, whichever one you prefer. But thank you guys for hanging out in the chat. All right, so we'll get back to going over the games and scores that have happened here. So we'll get into... excuse me, guys. We'll get into the stats here that we've seen from this game between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Seattle Seahawks. And we'll start with the Seahawks. Drew Lock went 12 for 22 with 147 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown, and 1 interception. Drew Lock looked a little frazzled early on. The offensive line didn't do him any favors by giving him proper protection, but not so bad of a day when you consider how bad the pass protection was for Drew Lock. And then after that, we've seen Jalen Milroe come in. He went 6 for 10 for 61 yards passing. But on the ground, he had 3 carries for 38 yards, including a long rush of 27 yards as Jalen Milroe really shows off the legs there and the athletic ability for the rookie quarterback that comes from the University of Alabama. Jalen Milroe is someone to really keep an eye on, especially in dynasty leagues, because I think it's only a matter of time before we see Jalen Milroe get an opportunity to be the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, think of it like this. If this year doesn't go the way that Seattle planned, they really have front-loaded that contract with quarterback Sam Darnold early on, so they could switch over to a young rookie quarterback by the end of the season, or definitely heading into next season. So I wonder what's going to happen going forward. Oh, look at that. Shout out, dude. We got 4 new records and vinyls for Jamie Watt. Dude, shout out to you, brother, man. That's awesome. And congratulations on just starting football practice. And Gator Exits. What about Desmond Watson? Well, Desmond Watson with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's lost a lot of weight, almost 100 pounds to this point. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need him to lose just a few more pounds before he can start practicing with the team, which is huge because we're heading into our first preseason game tomorrow for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So if Desmond Watson wants to get on the field, he has got to lose a little bit more weight, and hopefully we'll see him do that because I think he could be a big addition for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive line, especially against the run game. But hey, appreciate your question there, Gator Edit. Shout out to you, man. I'm sure you're watching Gator football all the time, dude. I mentioned this on my live stream for Friday Night SmackDown. My 2 dream jobs would be play-by-play announcer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and play-by-play announcer for the Florida Gators football team. That would just be epic, guys. But hey, you got to dream big if you want to achieve big. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, we see we got a couple more questions here in the chat. We'll try to get to those here first before we move on. Altveo, what's going on, man? The Patriots look insane as of right now. Henderson's going to be a problem. Well, AJ Henderson was really, really good at Ohio State. I actually thought he was better than Junkins when you looked at him on film, and was surprised that Junkins actually went ahead of Henderson in the NFL draft. But the New England Patriots are definitely going to utilize Henderson. I think him and Stevenson could create a 1-2 punch in the backfield for the New England Patriots that not a lot of other teams teams have right now. I mean, to compare them to one team, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you got someone like Bucky Irving and Rachaad White in the backfield, that's a beautiful 1-2 punch to have, and that's exactly what you need in today's NFL, a good 1-2 punch at the running back position in order for you to succeed in today's NFL. So we'll see how that plays out, but definitely, guys, keep your eye out on Trey Henderson in your football fantasy leagues, because I think this year we could see Henderson put up the same, if not maybe just more, fantasy football points than Rashad Stevenson in the backfield there for the New England Patriots. Stevenson's probably definitely a guy that I'm avoiding if I'm looking to draft a running back in the early rounds of my NFL fantasy football draft this year. So Val7, shout out. We got a new subscriber. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your sub. Oh, look at that. We got a Broncos fan here. Congratulations to your Broncos, man. Finally making it to the playoffs last year for the first time in a lot of years. Bo Nix looks like a legitimate franchise quarterback, which I called last year in the NFL draft. I told people Bo Nix was a prospect that could not be missed in the NFL draft last year because he's had so much experience under his belt and has faced so much adversity throughout his college football career that I think Bo Nix is definitely a surefire franchise quarterback there for the Denver Broncos, especially under new management. I think the Denver Broncos are definitely on their way up. So, hey, shout out to you in the chat there, Gerald Ross. Appreciate you, man. Uh-oh, we got a Cards fan in the chat as well. What's going on? And the Bucks Pods, what's going on, brother? Drew Baker's your starter in fantasy, says Jamie. Hey, my starter too, Doug. My starter too. If I got anything to say about it, I am drafting so many Buccaneers this year, it's not even funny. I am definitely hopefully, because you never know how the draft's going to fall, but I need to get Baker Mayfield, and I need to get Bucky Irvin this year in my fantasy draft. That is for sure. What's going on, David? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Val7 with a nice question here. She says, what do you think about the Ravens this year? Legitimately, I talked about this with my friend on YouTube. His name is TruckerJohn89. Make sure you guys go check him out on YouTube if you get a chance. But he's a big Ravens fan, and he's from Baltimore. He lives in Maryland. And I tell you what, I think Baltimore could legitimately be a top 4, top 5 team this year. I think they are Super Bowl contenders, and they might even be just a little bit better than what the Kansas City Chiefs are putting out on the field right now. So, excuse me. But when you look at it on paper, right now, the Baltimore Ravens, I think, would be my pick to come out of the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl as the AFC representation in that. Excuse me. Got the hiccups. Woo! Nice to meet you two guys. In fantasy, my flex players should be start Najee Harris or Cooper Kupp. Are you kidding me right now? Like Jamie, Najee Harris isn't even a starter right now. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to catch my breath. All right, so going back over. Excuse me, damn. All right, guys, so going back over the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Seattle Seahawks. Damn, man. If these hiccups keep happening, this is going to be a long night. So not much to go over as far as stats over for the Seattle Seahawks. We did see for the Las Vegas Raiders, Aiden O'Connell went 18 for 30, 1 passing touchdown, but 2 interceptions. So he didn't do very well today, even though he did throw for over 200 yards passing. Cam Miller, the rookie, went 6 for 7 for 76 yards passing and a passing touchdown. And that was probably all the stats really to note here in this matchup. All right, guys. Well, as we head into tomorrow, some big matchups to look forward to. If I can catch my breath here. Whew. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so some matchups to look forward to tomorrow. We got the New York Giants going up against the Buffalo Bills. We also got the Houston Texans going up against the Minnesota Vikings. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The big question there about Micah Parsons, he's not playing. We also know that he's not practicing right now due to a back injury. And the same thing could be said for a quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens going forward with both of those teams, especially with this matchup tomorrow night. Hey, George, I'm trying, man. I got the hiccups like a MFer, dude. Fuck. Damn. Anyways, okay. All right. So the New York Jets will be taking on the Green Bay Packers. Interesting to see what happens there. I don't think Justin Fields is scheduled to start that game. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Arizona Cardinals. The Denver Broncos taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Interesting to see how Matt Jones really plays in that matchup for the backup for Brock Purdy, especially after he just got paid. We also will see the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I'm wondering whether or not we'll see Aaron Rodgers start this game. He's 40 years old, so I imagine we won't. But because he started training camp so late for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it could be very interesting to see if he gets any playing time in this matchup. And then also, guys, we got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have been dominant in practice this week against the Tennessee Titans. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup here in this one, because what I'm excited to see is not only the rookie Cam Ward for the Tennessee Titans offense, but I'm also very interested to see the new backup quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is Teddy Bridgewater, and how well he's able to play with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, especially after just joining this week. So as a matter of fact, I don't even know if we'll see him get any playing time tomorrow, but will be interesting to see as of to note. Excuse me, guys. Whew. And guys, also on Sunday, we got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago, and the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, who got a victory in the Hall of Fame game against the Detroit Lions. So really will be interesting to see what happens in those matchups over the weekend. But guys, as you can see, I've got a case of the hiccups, so we're going to have to get off here and call this a little bit earlier than expected, but appreciate you guys all hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show. Appreciate you guys, man. We'll try to get to the comments here, real quick before we get going. Hopefully we'll get through these. Thank you guys so much, man. Holy crap, man. Woo. I Am Legend, shout out. Finally found a Buccaneers fan. Hell yeah, dude. As a matter of fact, I Am Legend, we will be doing live play-by-play for every single Tampa Bay Buccaneers football game throughout this season. So hopefully you're here on the live stream to come check us out. Bryson wants to know, what do you think about the Micah situation? I think that Micah is probably going to be traded, but we know how all these things tend to play out. It kind of, if the owner decides, hey, we're gonna pay you, they end up paying somebody. So we'll just have to see what happens there. So Christopher wants to know, do you think RJ Harvey will be a good flex? No. Christopher, right now RJ Harvey is listed as the fifth string running back on the Denver Broncos. RJ Harvey should not be considered by any fantasy managers at this point. Take a deep breath and swallow 3 times. Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Woo! Val7 shout out says my favorite player is Ray Lewis. Hell yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out here on the channel. I didn't do that bad tonight. Would you agree? Oh yeah, Sanders did pretty well tonight, I would say. Especially with him getting not much notice to being the starter for the Cleveland Browns tonight. But, all right, guys, the hiccups need to go away, so we're going to go ahead and call it early here. Thank you guys for hanging out here on Tim Reynolds Show for this quick little live Friday football talk. As we talked about all the preseason games that have happened, and will happen this upcoming weekend. We'll be sure to try to do this every single Friday during the football season, hopefully with not as many hiccups. But thank you guys for hanging out on the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Tim Reynolds Show, and we'll see you guys next time here for my Friday football talk here on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you for all the love and support, guys, not only for Friday Night SmackDown tonight, but also for this football stream here on this sports entertainment channel, Tim Reynolds Show. Shout out to all you guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday night, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.